I've been running from this review for as long as I can remember. So the movie that I'm reviewing is obviously Darkness Falls. You clicked on the video, you know what's up. I have an entire story around my personal experience with this movie in another video I made called Childhood Trauma. I won't go into how I lost my last baby tooth on the same day I went to see a movie about a killer tooth fairy. You can go to that video for that. That's in the description, or it's just going to be under this video. But for right now, we're talking about Darkness Falls. The movie starts with a story about Darkness Falls. I thought it was just a movie title. You're just asking for a curse if you name your town Darkness Falls. The movie starts with a story about Matilda, who is basically the tooth fairy. I'm just going to make this really short for you. She gave kids gifts in exchange for giving her teeth, which is kind of weird. But it was the olden days, so I guess they were just like, whatever. So she lived peacefully in Darkness Falls until the Fire Nation attacked her house, and it left her scarred, so she had to wear a porcelain mask. 2 kids went missing. They assumed that it was her, that maybe she killed them. Maybe she was a witch, because they did hang her, and then they exposed her face to the entire town. During her hanging, she laid a curse on the town, and a few days later, the kids came back unharmed, so if there was any impetus to move away from a place called Darkness Falls, that was it. But I guess they stayed. We cut to Michael pulling what we don't know is his last baby tooth at school. I guess we get to see through his classmates that it's his last tooth, or no, we're just gonna skip to his house. Cool. We just skipped the entire day. Why did we even see that first scene in the first place? Shout out to the Spider-Man cameo. We see Kyle with the tooth. Kyle is going to leave the tooth on the dresser, which is probably the smartest thing he can do in this universe. His contemplation is interrupted by his friend, Caitlin Green, who sneaks into his room. Caitlin, I have some theories about Caitlin, but I'm going to let you see what happens. The first scene is already weird with her.
Cat?
Yeah?
There's this school dance on Saturday night, so...
I already told my mom you'd be by at 7. And she can drive us.
Stop!
Saturday at 7, right?
Okay.
Remember, when the tooth fairy comes, don't peek.
In hindsight, this entire movie is Caitlin's fault. Kyle was going to leave his baby tooth on the dresser. Caitlin is the one that insisted that he put it under his pillow. Another question, he could just sleep on his front side. Then if the tooth fairy comes, he doesn't have to look at her. He could just bury his head into the pillow. So he does indeed see Matilda show up in his room, and therefore he has to die because the tooth fairy is insecure. We learned that from Rise of the Guardians.
What?
So he runs to the bathroom, turns the light on. His mother finds him, wonders why he's afraid. She then goes to check his room and finds nothing. And then the tooth fairy kills her anyway. So Michael holds himself up in the bathroom with all the lights on, and Matilda is terrorizing him at this point because I know she sees the light coming through the cracks of the door and you can't go in there, so you're just torturing him at this point. And the camera pulls back on our primary antagonist, a cloud. So the next morning, the police show up and they assume that Kyle is the one that killed his mother. This child with no previous history of violence or mental illness, as far as we know. I mean, he could have. The movie didn't really tell us anything about him. So, we not going to the dance? Or... So now I'm guessing we get to see how Kyle has dealt with the trauma of losing his mother. Or we can just skip to Caitlin 12 years later. Is this movie about Caitlin? Caitlin seems like the primary protagonist here. She's the one making the decisions. The main character did not invite the tooth fairy into his home. That was Caitlin. And believe me when I say, I really do not feel like for a second that little girl would grow up to be this young woman. Caitlin is at the hospital because her little brother Michael is showing signs of having the same types of night terrors that Kyle had. This kid, Michael, he's the best part of this movie. I think it's because he's suffering from a lack of direction. He has the best line deliveries. So Caitlin calls Kyle to see if she can get some advice on what's happening with her brother, or to see if Kyle can come speak to her brother about what's going on with him.
Hi, is this Kyle Walsh's number? Is this Caitlin Green?
That's not funny.
Kyle. Hey, it's Kat.
You asked me to the dance, but never took me?
Caitlin?
Yeah, hey. You are hard to track down.
How is Kyle hard to get a hold of on the phone when she knew his number and she called him and he picked up after the first ring? He even says,
That's not funny.
because he thinks somebody is posing as Caitlin trying to mess with him. Like, does this happen every week? Does somebody call him as a different person from his past every week? Besides that, has Caitlin even really tried to contact him after she got his mom killed and got him sent to the mental hospital for 12 years? He explains to her that he's in the gaming industry. This movie was made in 2003, so anytime the mainstream refers to the gaming industry, they're talking about casinos, not electronic arts. You DLC creating bastard. Hey! So as I was making this video, I realized that I've never made a full movie review before, and it's basically like eating a dragon, or an elephant, or fighting a dragon, or fighting an elephant. I mean to say that if you mean to accomplish it, you're going to have to practice, and you're probably going to have to chop it up into pieces. So I meant for this to be one long review, but I ain't doing that. Part 2 will be out in November. I'm not doing this whole... I'm not.